So you don't even have to be here. And
no, we have a lot of clients that buy from the other side of the world without even coming to Bali, right? They can do remote showings.
A lot of the villas we have sold 2023, people just say, Peter or Joe, is this a great location? Yes, it is.
Welcome to Real Talk. I'm Valleska, your host for everything real estate in the Island of God. In this podcast, we'll have real talks with property experts that will give you all the insights you need. So, whether you're a property pro or just curious about the real estate in Bali, you're in for a ride. Hi guys, welcome back to Real Talk. On this episode, we're going to be talking with Joe and Peter. You guys know them already. And we're going to be talking about what it is to buy off-plan. So let's get into it. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that this question's for you, Joe. So can you explain exactly what it is to buy off-plan?
Yeah, so buying off-plan is the process of purchasing an unfinished villa, usually through floor plans, renders, inventories, things like that. So we try and give our clients as much information as possible regarding what the finished villa will be like, but you're usually buying it much earlier in the process when it's just starting or during the process of being built. What
is the advantages that you have when you buy a property off-plan?
There's quite a few advantages. I think first one would be, as it's off-plan and it's not finished, there's always the opportunity in there to do small customizations. I think it's not ordinary that the developer's going to want to change the structure or anything like that. But of course, changing tiles or colors of walls, things like that are quite straightforward. So you get to feel like you're maybe designing your own villa without doing all of the hard work. Secondly, is most attractive is the payment plan. With any off-plan, you pay in installments. Usually that's around 30 to 40% at the beginning, and then followed with installments of 10 to 15% until it's finished. So that's quite nice to break it down. And lastly, off-plan should represent maybe a slight saving to a finished villa. We've seen in the last year or so that finished villas demand a premium because there's not many finished villas in the market. So when you're buying off-plan, you should be buying it slightly cheaper.
Great. And so we've seen the payment plan. Is buying off-plan properties more interesting financially?
That's a good question. I get it every week. I think it's not so much about the price of the property. I think it's about having a property, especially if you do daily rental, that is up to date, that is very, that can perform in a very, very tough market right now. We have more or less 60,000 rooms and villas for rent in Bali right now. So you need the right property at the right location to be able to compete in a very competitive market in, for instance, Airbnb. And that is why I think we sell a lot of off-plan, because people no longer want to buy these 10, 15-year-old villas because they're not performing well enough as a business.
So can you tell me the key elements for a top-performing off-plan property?
First of all, close living. You need to be able to cool down the villa. That's number one. Location is, like Joe always says, location, location, location. That's a global thing. We will always guide our customers to buy in the right locations. Design-wise, that's your choice. Whatever you love, if it's Mediterranean, contemporary, traditional, doesn't really matter. But of course, some style, I would say some architecture features, they perform better with daily rentals than others. And we try to guide our customers towards that style. If they already very early on says this is purely as an investment, we guide them in the right area at the right design.
Is there any difference when you purchase an off-plan property for investment versus purchasing an off-plan property for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think Bali's a very investable, is that a word? A good investment as an island. It's an island that a lot of people like to invest in because tourism accounts for 70 to 80% of the revenue on the island anyway. So of course you have a lot of people that come into the island looking for somewhere nice to stay. If you're looking for a daily rental option, a villa that you can just use in the rental market, then of course we would guide our clients to the right location, somewhere close to the ocean or close to particular amenities and with a particular style. We also have a percentage of our clients that look for somewhere to live, and they're clients that maybe want to be connected to the main areas but not live directly in the middle of it. So we might pull them just outside of the area where you would expect the styles to be a little bit different. You're not aiming just for that daily rental market. It's more of a livable home, but I think they would also expect a little bit more space, and you're only going to get that space if you come out of the prime areas. So there's definitely a difference in the villas that we would sell to people living in or renting.
For the styles, is there any difference as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to the daily rental villas, people are definitely following styles and trends that are popular in the market, right? I always say for daily rental, the most popular villas are the most Instagrammable villas, right? And there might be particular trends that go into those villas, whether it's Mediterranean styles or things like that. When you're looking at somewhere to live, then I think the style of the villa will be very different in general, particularly when you come out of the area as well. I think it can be Mediterranean, or that style works very well in Canggu, close to the beach, or Bingin, close to the beaches. But I think when you take it out of the area and put it into Tumbat or Cabo, it probably doesn't work as well or fit into the area as much. So maybe in those areas, that's where it gets a little bit more traditional or timeless in their design.
Yeah. And we get a lot of customers that really want to customize the villa and really push for a lot of customizations. Peter, would you recommend to do a lot of customizations and ask for a lot of customizations to the developers?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, most of the videos me and Joe we actually say that's one of the advantages of buying off-plan, that you can customize your villa. Recently, however, we have seen a lot of customers thinking they are building themselves. So like Joe just mentioned before, customizations are small things. It can be tiles on the flooring, countertop in the kitchens, but the overall feel and the build will be what is decided by the developer, of course. We cannot redesign the villas, and we have to remember how villas are constructed in Bali. It's not the Western standard. These are, you can say, handmade villas. A lot of effort is being put into the villas. So if the contractor who's building gets too many customizations, they tend to be very confused and do everything wrong. So of course, colorways, tiles, countertops, arches, no arches, you can do different things if you step in early. But end of the day, it's up to the developer if they want to change it, because they have done a lot of work designing this, so maybe they don't want to change their concept either. But it's one of the advantages of buying off-plan for sure, is that you're allowed to customize it also.
And what is the process of buying off-plan?
Yeah, I honestly believe that Propertia Bali is probably one of the biggest agencies selling off-plan. I think we can do it through our marketing, our knowledge. Everything comes together in a beautiful way. The advantages is definitely, like Joe said, the payment plan. You only pay according to the construction. You can follow the construction. But main opinion about buying off-plan is definitely that you, like I said before, you get an up-to-date villa according to the market needs, the demands. The customers in Airbnb, Agoda, Booking.com, they are super demanding about the looks. And I think Joe is right. I had a customer who said, I rented this villa because I wanted to create content in the villa. I think we all need this special, unique experience when we come to Bali for 2 or 3 weeks vacation. We want to stay in the place and we don't compromise on price. The vacation has to be absolutely fantastic.
And Joe, can you walk us through like the process of how do you buy off-plan?
Yeah. So I mean, it's very typical for our clients to contact us and say, I want to get a villa, but it is off-plan. Usually starts with a bit of a tour on the areas, right? We need to let them know where the prime areas are for, if it's an investment for daily rental, or if it's residential, where they should be looking. Quite often it starts with visiting sites that are nearly empty, maybe just starting out, but marked out to see what is happening there. So they need to have an understanding of, or be quite visual in what they're looking at, right? It could be a piece of land that we're showing them renders of. So usually you'd start by seeing the land, walking through all of the floor plans, 2D, 3D plans, renders, videos, everything that we have. We will guide them through everything that's included in the villa, what it might look like. Quite often we have a showroom as well, so it might be that, let's say for one of our developments, they're building in one location, but they've already built in a previous location. We can take them to that showroom. So we try and give them as much at the beginning as we can. Once they've settled on the project that they want, and they want to commit to it, then we do an ITP, an intent to purchase, and that's like a pre-purchase agreement, right? So that's just who's the buyer, who's the seller, what are they selling, what are the prices and terms agreed, and that's what we will pass to the notary, who's the legal advisor in this, right? Once that goes to the notary, deposit goes to the notary, and that starts the due diligence process. So that bit is where we will work with the notary to make sure they have everything they need in terms of all the legal documents. Usually can take around 7 to 10 days. It's quite a fast process. And once it's done, the notary will give them a due diligence report to say everything's clear, you can proceed with this. Ordinarily, it's split into different contracts because they're purchasing land with a villa being built on top, right? So depending on how that looks, there might be more than one contract, and they'll be invited to sign those contracts, which quite often we do on behalf of clients. If they're not here, we might be power of attorney for the client and we go and sign on their behalf. Once that's done, they make the next payment, and usually that will take them to the 10 plus 30. So usually it's around 40% that they paid at the beginning. The process over the build can be anywhere from 10 to 14 months, I would say. So that's our job with the developers, to keep the client who's purchased up to date with what's happening. There'll be certain milestones that the developer needs to hit, certain dates that are in place that we need to check the site and make sure, have they dug the pool out, have the walls gone up, is the roof on, things like that, so that they know when they're buying these off-plan villas, they're paying according to the progress of the villa, right. All the way through to handover. I think a lot of the developers we work with make it really easy so that when the villa's ready, they can get the keys, give it straight to a management company, or even an in-house management company for particular developers. So that process, although it's a little bit drawn out from buying a finished villa, should be quite seamless for them from start to finish, and we're here to support most of that.
So you don't even have to be here? And
no, we have a lot of clients that buy from the other side of the world without even coming to Bali, right? They can do remote showings. We've done video tours of locations, drone footage, whatever it is that they need to see to check the location and the surroundings. We can provide them renders, videos, 2D plans of the projects that they're buying. They can sign remotely, they can sign through a POA, they can make payments internationally through TransferWise and platforms like that. So you don't need to be here at all. We've had clients sat overseas for the entire transaction, from the day they've agreed to purchase all the way to it being rented out, and then they start making their money.
And Peter, is there any guarantees? Like how do we, because obviously clients are purchasing something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
What are the guarantees that we give them?
Yeah, so normally when we sell off plan, there's a 1 year warranty on the main structure. Okay. And there's 3 months on MEP. And why is it only 3 months on MEP? It's because as soon as you get the keys, you will know if something is not working, either electricity or pipe systems. Then the contractor, of course, have to fix those issues immediately, if there is any. But it's not very often that we bump into these problems at all. The 1 year warranty is because we have something called a rainy season in Bali. And when it's raining in Bali, it's raining a lot. So you need to see that your roof is not leaking. So we like to have a year from the day that you actually get the keys, so you have included a raining season. And I think Joe is right. It's very important for customers to understand you do not have to be here. A lot of the villas we have sold 2023, people just say, Peter or Joe, is this a great location? Yes, it is. Can you give me an estimate about my rental revenue for this villa? We give the estimate. We are quite conservative. And then customers are super happy because they can see the renders. So they are going to get practically exactly the same as the renders, right? That's the idea of buying off plan. I would say for the guarantees, people are safe. We actually stopped working with some developers that didn't honor, I would say, our business philosophy. Not because customers were caught in this kind of uncomfortable situation with the developers, but we are choosing the developers according to how professional they are as well. And this is very important. I think that's where Propertia Bali is going to go in the future. We carefully select our developers. We want to work with developers who are professional, who of course also can be late. That's no secret. If you promise 12 months, like Joe said, it can be 14 because of the raining season. There are things that we cannot control. So sometimes we have few delays, but at the end of the day, I think most customers are very happy when they get the keys.
And the idea is that they get what they're promised on the renders, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, it's almost one-to-one. We just handed over a project called Las Casas that you shot in also. It's one-to-one.
Yeah, it was down to the decoration.
Yeah, and now we cannot get access to the villas, even though we want to shoot there again because they are rented out like crazy. And I think for both Joe and I, and the purpose of this video is definitely to emphasize how incredible important it is to buy the right properties at the right locations. You can buy the wrong property at the right location, right? So, but they won't perform. So customers are very picky, and when we're talking about customers, we are talking about the ones who wants to pay $200 to $300 a night to rent your villa.
I think it's also important, Peter touched on it, that there are no developers that are just listing on our website without us meeting them first, right? We have meetings with all the developers that are doing off-plan projects. We want to know who they are, what they're developing, what they've developed in the past, who the contractors are that are involved, what are the standards they're trying to achieve. So our buyers can be confident in what they're getting in the end because we've already had those conversations at the beginning.
So we carefully choose.
Yes, very carefully.
Who we work with.
Very carefully.
Yes.
Makes it easy.
Yeah,
for the marketing as well.
100%. And I think people are sitting out there, and Joe mentioned it, it's very important. Again, if you look at our website, look at the finished villas, there's nothing to choose from. One last thing I would like to mention is I have a lot of questions from customers who are saying, is the market inflated? What's going to happen? Is it a big bubble that's going to burst when all these new properties, they're going to hit the market? And honestly, I don't think so. I think what's going to happen is the market is going to be split in two. We are going to have all these beautiful, amazing villas that are close living, everything the customers want. And then you're going to have the old, what I call the old Bali market, 10, 15 years old villas. That will probably have to reduce their prices a lot. Because the new villas, they are just marketed according to the market price. So I think it's a global trend. People are more demanding than ever about how we live, and that has arrived also to Bali when people are investing.
And for how can we sell, because you mentioned before that we're really good at selling off plan.
Yeah.
What makes us
good at selling
off plan?
I think that's a question Joe has to answer.
It's a secret, isn't it?
Yeah.
You mentioned it at the beginning, it's how we're able to market it to our clients, right? As we mentioned, so many of our clients are not here. They're sat somewhere around the world, right? We deal with multiple nationalities every week. Some of them 10 hours ahead of us, some of them 10 hours behind us, right? So we're always dealing with different people around the world, and the best way of them being able to understand what it is that they're buying is for us to, through our amazing videographers and marketing team, to actually show them and show them the story of how to purchase in Bali and what they're purchasing in Bali, and just give them confidence in the product that they're actually getting as well. Like Peter said, there's examples like Las Casas that was sold off plan, and eventually when when the villa was finished, it was everything and more that we expected, right? And the buyers are all really, really happy, but it's about how we were able to actually give them that confidence at the beginning. But there's a lot of process that goes into every off-plan development. Like I said, before it even hits our website, there's probably been a lot of research and meetings that have gone into it. So the client should be really confident when they see something on our website that it's not just a randomer that's building something in Bali with no experience. It's somebody that's been through all of the stages and processes that we've tried to guide them through to make sure that it's going to be the right product in the end.
Well, I think we have all the questions covered.
Yeah. Cool.
As always, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.